I want to say and or point out what I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about Alex Jones and people exposing him as a shill. I don't know if Alex Jones is a shill, but I have been concerned with Alex Jones ever since I began to notice that he hasn't really. I've been watching him for 4 years straight, up until about a year ago. Um, I noticed that he doesn't really stop big things. Like he stopped silicone being in the chicken McNuggets, which is great. But we got massive attacks going on, which is definitely not the way he presents it. It's not fluoride's the big one, and then it weeds on down, tiny, 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 to finally you get to gang stalking or chemtrails. The big stuff, Alex Jones, in my opinion, he shrinks it. He makes it sound like it's not as big as it is. And then the smaller stuff, which is bad. I mean, fluoride getting any kind of cancer in 20, 30 years is horrific. But what's more horrific than people being gang stalked by a government that is violating the law when they gang stalk people and there's so much evidence and they're going around killing people? Not 30 years from now with cancer, but sometimes within months of gang stalking. There's many cases of people that have survived, myself including, attempted murder. So had I not survived attempted murder at the time, then I wouldn't be here telling you that I was almost murdered. So there again, there'd be no case whatsoever. But so how many people were murdered that never were able to talk about their case? We're not going to be happy with Trump or Alex Jones. I mean, we like Trump. Trump's been doing a great job. I think he's been doing good, personally. But until he really covers the bigger issues, which is the gang stalking issues, the unanswered questions about the chemtrails, and three, I would have to say the Morgellons, where people are hatching bugs out of their body, and there's other stuff too, which is just about, if not as important, alarming. Alex Jones, if I had 10% of his power, I would have made a big movement 10 years ago. You don't join the police and the government because there's some good people in the government. Because there's so many criminals these days. I mean, I'm almost 50 years old. I can compare it to the 90s. I can compare it to the 80s. I can compare it to the 70s. There's so many criminals now that it's at the point now where actually everybody in the government needs to be fired, investigated, and we need to put new folks completely in there. That's the point we're at. That's what happens when you don't clean house and you wait until the house becomes a giant pool of mold and feces. It gets to a point where the house has to completely go. This government is so out of control. It's so obvious. There's so many crimes. I don't even know where to start. My head's spinning. I say it's time. Personally, this is and people that have been watching this for years escalate out of control. The more we talk about it, the worse they get. The less we talk about it, the worse they get. The only answer really is just to completely reroute the entire government. Fire, suspension, investigation, and then from that point, you're either going home and you go find a job somewhere else, or you're going to prison. One or the other. That's where we need to go. It's the military, the corrupt military, that's leading this, along with the fake news, which is CNN, Fox News. These are the criminals that allow this stuff to happen by not reporting it, not letting the American people know about the crimes. They're guilty. They're just as guilty as the criminals that committed the crimes, and this is happening in America, where the Constitution is supposed to be the law of the land.